All right, you are now tuned in to the Rotated Views podcast. I am your host, Jimmy Lee Velez. I am here with Goose,
What's up?
Heck,
Yep.
and Gabe. Welcome. The title of this episode is Can I Pet It? That's right, folks. In this episode, the crew talks about pets and our experiences with them. We cover topics that range from household pet statistics, funny stories, farm pets, pet ownership, pet stereotypes, the zoo, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from James Harriot and James Cromwell. All right, so if you're new, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you listening. We drop a new episode every Tuesday morning for your listening pleasure. Don't forget to download and subscribe. And also, if you guys have any topics you wanted to discuss or want to be a guest on our show, send us an email at rotatedviews@gmail.com. So, with that being said, we define the word pet from dictionary.com, and they define it as any domesticated or tamed animal that is kept as a companion and cared for affectionately. I thought that was perfect. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Basic, simple.
Anyway, so pet. I grabbed this from this article from the humanesociety.org, and it's titled Pets by the Numbers. Obtaining accurate statistical data about pets in the U.S. isn't easy. Most of the information is based on estimates derived from surveys, and the various survey takers don't always agree. Data reflecting shelter/rescue animal populations is spotty due to a lack of reporting requirements, which leaders in animal welfare are aiming to address with the Shelter Animals Count project. There are two main sources of pet demographics in the U.S., the biennial APPA National Pet Owner Survey by the American Pets Products Association and the U.S. Pet Ownership and Demographic Sourcebook by the American Veterinary Medical Association, which is published every 5 years. Together, these surveys provide data about trends in pet ownership and produce a reasonably accurate estimate of the total number of dogs and cats.
I guess it's like the pet census.
Exactly, but they said even that is not a. You got to think the people breed,
Yeah.
and so and I'm sure there's a lot of people who breed, without the license to or whatever,
Sure.
Thing you have to follow. So this numbers are definitely. I just don't see them being as accurate as one would think.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So I guess as accurate as you possibly can get.
Yeah.
I guess is what they try to, So, all right, so let's look at the numbers. U.S. pet ownership estimates. Here's a fact. Number of households with a pet, 66.5 million. Wow, percentage of households with a pet, 56%. Pet owning households with one or more pet, 62%. So that's interesting itself. I like this. This is very interesting to me. The average amount spent on veterinary care per year per pet, cat or dog, $158. So this is all. Also, just as a reminder, this is all in the U.S.
Yeah.
All right. So then they broke it down by dogs. Households that own at least one dog, 43.3 million households in the U.S. That's crazy to me. Estimated number of pet dogs, 70 million. Wow. They kind of break it down.
By like sizes.
Yeah, by sizes of the dogs, small, medium, large. And then I just wanted to do the cats one just as, for a comparison. Households that own at least one cat, 36.1 million. Estimated number of cats, 74 million. That's interesting. So that's more than estimated number of dogs.
Because it's a less percentage of households own cats,
cats.
but own more cats.
Right.
So it's weird.
So yeah, that
balancing.
is interesting. And then there's another, bulletin thing that they put up where do people acquire pets? Dogs adopted from a shelter or rescue, 84%. That's a crazy high number. This is 46%. Dogs taken in as strays, 10%. Cats taken in as strays, 27%. Dogs acquired from friends or relatives, 15%. Cats, 28%. So it says dogs purchased from a pet store, 4.2%. Cats purchased from a pet store, 2%. Wow, that is a crazy number, don't you think? Like, I would have thought it would be a little bit more than that, more than 10% from a pet store.
Well, and that's going from 2015, 2016.
Right, that's true.
Everyone's more adopting now than ever.
Yeah.
Ever, yeah. Like, I know a lot of people adopt, but I just thought the number would be a little bit.
Or they might get it from more. If they don't get it from a shelter, they probably get it from somebody they know. Like, like somebody. Oh, I have a litter of cats.
Aunts and uncles.
Well, yeah,
or private breed,
breeder.
whatever.
But
yeah, so dogs purchased from a breeder is 19%.
Oh, that's actually okay.
Cats purchased from a breeder is 3%.
Well, there you go. I mean,
there's a big differences though between cats and
you
dogs.
see cats taking in strays is 27%.
Yeah,
People taking more stray cats
Yeah.
than actual dog. I mean, cats are all over the place too. I mean,
and there are ones more likely to stay in front of your house and just you see them all the time. So like, okay, just come in my house.
Yeah, we have like a couple like neighborhood cats that it's someone's cat. I don't even know whose it is because it's
Called
normally
hood
at
cats.
night, and you hear them like
They're protesting.
meowing or purring, whatever. And
protesting.
you just go outside and just kind of like look at you. They don't bother. But
No, for the most part.
No.
they're going in a house because they're like well groomed.
Okay, so they're not like.
It's not like a they didn't look crazy.
At
There's
my
just
house,
a black one and there's a white one with the black patches. The white one with the black patches is like it looks fake. It looks like it should be a statue.
at my house, literally across the street there is a cat that looks like a lion. That's a complete. I'm not gonna say it's a stray, but it never goes inside the neighbor's house. Like it always just walks around. And then there's a gray one, like you said, it looked like a statue, but this one is just gray with a white paw, and it had like these white patches on his face. And when he stands there, he looks fake, like looks like a statue. Like it's unreal. But it's just weird that they just literally all hang outside. I mean, the lady comes out, she'll feed them, but they never step foot in the house. I've never seen them step foot in the house. Like, never seen them walk into the house.
I say some people have like outdoor, indoor cats, but they never go in the house. That's just
weird. They just hang out, but I know she feeds them because I've seen her put food.
But that's the thing, you put any kind of food, like they're just come. They're just back no matter what.
Well, isn't though with cats? Don't they more so take care of themselves
for the most part?
More than they do anything
they have
for
9
the
lives.
owner?
Yeah.
Well, like
so
grooming
I think,
also
like,
too. Yeah,
so for people to break down that statistic, so for more people are more likely to bring in a cat because maybe it just takes care of itself. It's easier to take care for. Maybe?
For the most part, yeah, because it's not high maintenance. Because like obviously a dog depends on you for a lot more stuff than.
Yeah, I mean a dog just depends on you
for like almost everything.
Yeah.
As long as the cat for the most part, as long as you put out food, it's good to go. Just roam around and do whatever.
Yeah, there's a couple funny videos. I guess I'm assuming it's on YouTube. I'm not sure where I saw it. I think I saw it on Facebook, but where this guy basically acts like a dog, like as like I don't know I don't know what you would call it. It was just kind of like a joke, like things dogs do with their owners, and then he did one as a cat, and you read like the comments. Like, people were saying, like, I can't speak on a cat's end because I never had a cat. But for the dog, I was just laughing because everything he was doing is exactly... It was, like, very stereotypical of certain dogs. Obviously, we know, certain pets have their own little personalities. Sure. But generally, like, doing the thing, it was hilarious. And the guy was a comedian, so obviously he had, like, a funny twist to it. But the one that I always remember was, like, him being the dog... and he was just staring at the door and waiting for the owner to come out, right? So the owner comes in and he's like jumping around like in circles, happy as heck to see like the owner or whatever. And then he obviously cuts to the scene where he's the cat now, and the cat like walks up to the door, like gives like this evil look and just like walks away, like all like rubbing itself up against the wall like its back. Dude, it was just so funny. Like, I don't own cats, but I have friends or, family members that own cats, and I see this, level of behavior. It was very generalized, but it was hilarious. He got the point across that it was, cats and dogs are totally different. Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know how, what the numbers, how that, why that is so about the cats that get, taken in more. But it's very interesting. Those numbers are super surprising to me too. And also, we have a lot of cats and dogs.
Yeah.
Dude, that is crazy. And that's what them being able to account for. Like, I think there has to be millions of that aren't being accounted for.
Absolutely.
I also thought it was interesting. I guess you can. These people filled out the survey, so I was going to say, like, how did they know this person got a stray cat? But obviously, if this person took the survey,
exactly.
But that's interesting, and I also wonder, how truthful people were in taking. Because what like you would think, like, what if it was like some guy down the street who's breeding them, under the table kind of thing, and they're like, oh yeah, it was a stray cat or a stray dog. And that goes under that statistic. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
How long do they do this statistic for? Like,
what do you mean?
Is it all year long they're counting these for? Or how do
No, it's a survey. They're a survey.
It's like a census. Like, so somebody has to take the survey to
Gotcha.
give you the statistics of it. Like, the reason why they picked the pet and blah, blah, all that stuff that goes with it.
Right. And this is, again, with the thing with surveys, it's for, number one, how truthful someone takes it, and then who takes it.
Exactly.
Like, the amount of people. So, it doesn't say how many people took it. I don't think it did anyway. So, that's just, and I'm sure, like, the numbers will probably just be way more, but relatively speaking, accurate in, the descriptions of each.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so I figured we would share that because there's some stuff that I had no idea. It's very interesting. But yeah, so moving right along, talking about pets, do any of you guys own a cat or dog, or have owned a cat or a dog?
Well, me growing up, we've always had cats. Like, before I was born, my parents had like big old dogs, but when my sister was born, then they didn't get rid of it. But I mean, I guess they I don't know what exactly the story was behind that, but
they put it out in the street.
What's a big old dog?
Like I think they had
Big old dog.
I know specifically one they had German Shepherd. I'm thinking the other one. I forget
That's
what
a
the
big
other one.
dog.
And but it was also like in a small house anyway too. So big dogs and little kids.
Little house and little kids.
So it didn't mix too well. But after that, like me growing up, we always had cats in the house. But we did have a dog when I was a teenager, like a beagle. But he was. That's why
I
I don't
can see you with a beagle.
That is awesome.
That is interesting.
Now you're a cat owner, so you tell me, what do you do? Do you like hang out with your cat? Like, I feel like no, because I'm not trying to be like whatever, but I feel like every time I'm at someone's house who has a cat, I don't see the cat, and I think that's part of their thing.
And that depends on it's sure for the most part. I mean, because I think cats for the most part are a lot more territorial and something in that respect, but the cats I have now, for the most part, they're actually pretty well. As long as you're in the house, like if there's like a whole bunch of people, no, they're like there'll be nowhere to be found. But if it's like if it was just like me and you, or whatever, the cat would come around. They'll probably like jump on the couch and probably try to roll over you, whatever.
Yeah.
Do they purr?
Yeah.
Yes.
So weird.
Because I know my one cat, like she finds some way to stick her behind on you for some reason. Yeah. She'll like twist around and like throw her butt right on, pointing at you in some form or another, which is really weird.
That's a fresh cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
then she'll like pass out and like you'll be snoring her butt off. So
that is like a territorial thing, right?
Somewhat. She's just being territory? Like, well, no. The other one I have, she rubs her, like what you were saying before, like walks away and rubs her. She'll rub her face on literally everything around the room constantly.
And their body, I've seen them like rub their bodies on like
body.
people's legs or whatever. Like they're standing and they just like rub in and out. And so
and that's what like everything she walks past, like literally her face is or part of her body is rubbing on everything. So like,
dude, the thing with like for me, like for a cat, it's the feline thing, right? So I always associate them with like a mountain lion or something. Like they're going to like they have these eyes to me that look like they're about to do something to me. Like I don't know what it is. It's just like are you about to like slap
like
me or something?
You?
Yeah. And well, it's also happened to me.
Okay.
So it's like now I have like this like thing.
You got pounced on by a cat?
By a kitten.
Yeah, it was like right on my chest.
But it's paws?
Yeah. And I'm like, yo.
It was a boxing cat.
Yeah. But also like yeah, like my brother-in-law or whatever, like they have a cat that they have to put it like upstairs or it'll literally like bite and scratch people.
Oh man.
Well, some cats, yeah. I mean, what I say, any animal, some of them, they just get like crazy,
I
like around strangers and some people that are comfortable with and all that stuff. But it was funny, like kind of going off what you said. I know, like when we were younger, like we had a family friend that we used to visit every so often. The cat was the Claude, but my sister was over there and she was sitting like cross-legged on the floor, or whatever, and the cat came up and jumped on like her lap, whatever. I guess like stared in the face and just like started smacking her in the face. it was like thankfully the cat was the club, but it was like it was only like you say you're boxing with the cat.
It was like I was boxing with. Well, I wouldn't do anything back, but it was like.
But it was just like standing there. I'm like,
I didn't know what to do.
But I mean, it's just like little cat paws. I mean, they're like little gloves that are just like hitting you, but it's like.
Now, aren't they against that declawing cats?
For the most part, yeah, because they're essentially it's almost like taking like the first thing of your finger off. That's essentially what declawing. So
they say it's pretty painful for them too.
I could imagine. Yeah,
that's brutal. I didn't, I think I interacted with a cat that was declawed, and it is just like this little puffy hand or whatever. But I've also the other way around, like was around a cat that had its claws, but the owners were very like on top of filing them or whatever, kind of almost like into a ball, like a round. They rounded them off a little bit.
Okay,
so it's kind of like if you're a cat owner, I think that's probably your best bet is to kind of stay on top of that, or they do
for the
it
most
themselves.
Part. Yeah, I mean they do. Like like anybody else, like if you. Like some people bite their nails and stuff like that. My cats do that. Like my cat would just like you'll see her like yanking
sitting on the couch biting its nails.
Essentially, yeah. But I mean, you get the little clippers, and as long as you don't get too far down, because you can like there's like
there's like
blood vessels and stuff like that. You don't have to get too far, but
it's scary. It freaks me out.
You just literally do the tip of it and just like.
Well, that's I know. Well, we had dogs growing up, and I remember like you buy those special clippers or whatever, and we would like trim down nails because you could. Somebody got scratched, it was just it was just time to like trim them down or whatever. And I remember like my mom and my dad being like super nervous doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's like times where they kind of cut a little too close, but nothing crazy where I do remember my mom had to take Frosty to like the veterinarian because
they got clipped too close.
I think she clipped it too close, but it was fine. I remember my mom feeling so bad. And then I think after that, my dad did it. No, not clipped her. Like, my dad was the one who would, cut her nails.
Oh, okay.
My mom just freaked her out after that.
She couldn't do it.
Yeah, she felt so bad. But yeah, so for us, we've always had, like, multiple dogs growing up. We've had smaller dogs, like Chihuahuas, and we had a couple mutts. Goose brought in the house Frosty.
Yeah, she was like a border collie and I don't know, something else mixed. She was
awesome.
Yeah.
She was a good dog.
She was a good dog. It was cool. You were what? You were 5 or what? You were in 6th grade when you got her.
5th grade. I was
5th
12.
grade.
Yeah.
How did you get her? Tag.
I was like,
you should have been 10, dog.
Yeah, you should have been 10, at least 11.
Like well, yeah, probably failed 6 times.
Yeah, that's true.
So how did you get Frosty?
So a friend of mine at school, his dog had a litter of puppies, and he was like saying, "Oh yeah, my dog had puppies. We gotta like get rid of some. We're selling them, whatever." I just remember one day walking home with him, and I went to his house, and in like his dining room area, there was like a small little room, and they had like a little baby pool, like a little kiddie pool, and these like tiny little puppies were in the kiddie pool, and they were just like a week or 2 old, so they were tiny. And out of the whole litter, there was just one that was all white. She was all white. I'm like, oh my God. And then she just stuck to my head. And I remember going home and asking Mom, I'm like, my friend Mike his dog has puppies, and can we get one? And she said, no. I remember going to school, and Mike was like, yeah, did your parents say anything? I'm like, yeah. They said, yeah. I knew I was going to convince them eventually to say. So I didn't know that, like, a week or 2 later, he comes to the house and just hands me the dog.
Huh.
Because I said, yeah, but I really didn't convince my parents yet. So here comes this dog as Mom and Pop come home from work. They're like, yeah, she's cute. Whose is it? I'm like,
that's
ours.
Yours now.
No, it's not. Dude, I remember that day.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I do remember that, but like vaguely, because I was younger.
Yeah, I remember all that. I remember even at nighttime. Because it was still young. They gave it to you young.
Yeah, it was
too young to
usually you get a dog at like 8 weeks or something. I think she was like under that.
Yeah, I think she might have been like 6 weeks or something like that. And I remember that she would scream, like not scream, but like whimper and cry.
Like a baby, yeah.
Yeah, and Mom and Pop woke us up to go downstairs and stay with the puppy. To watch it, to comfort it, because they took it away from the mom too soon, and B, you want a puppy, you're gonna take care of the puppy. That was their way of being. because me and Mike, we were both, no, we'll take care of her. We promise, we'll take care of her. And
you know what it was though, like growing up as a, as a pet owner or just being in a house where, obviously it wasn't my actual pet, but it was the family pet. There's this bond that you create obviously with the animal, but there's an interesting thing that, like, if you're a dog lover or whatever, a cat lover, that when you go to other people's houses, you were just kind of like, it was like second nature, I guess, or you just kind of like walked up to the dog, just kind of pet it and just kind of keep it moving. Whereas I seen people who didn't have pets, like a family dog or a family cat growing up, and they would freak them out.
And
their reaction is funny.
Yeah, the reaction is funny. Yep, exactly. It's like,
and it's almost like your primal instincts kick in, and it's like they get in defense.
Yeah.
Like, what do I do right now? Should I run? What is this going to do? And in the back of your mind, if you grew up with a pet, you're like, dude, the dog's fine.
Yeah.
You can immediately tell. You can look at a dog or a cat and tell, like, that thing's cool and it's chill, or it's evil. Like, there's a dog you can look at right in his eyes. I can tell right off the bat. Like, I'm not petting him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to keep it moving. But if you don't know, you might try to pet this thing that wants to bite your hand off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember as a kid, my first pet that I remember was a little Chihuahua. She was black and gold, and she looked like a little Doberman.
Miniature pinscher.
A little miniature pinscher. She had like the black with like the gold eyebrows, and she was cute. Her name was Tweety.
Yeah.
I was scared, completely scared of this puppy, and I'm bigger than it. And I never pet the dog because I always thought the dog was gonna bite me.
Yeah.
Always thought the dog was gonna bite me. Yeah, this dog was wicked. I would be at home. I wasn't in school yet. I was like, I think he was in either first or kindergarten, and it was summertime. No, not summertime, like springtime. And mommy would let the dog out in the courtyard because we lived in the apartments, and the dog would just run around. And when the lawnmower dudes came around, the landscapers, forget it, dude. The dog was chasing. I would always yell at my mom, "Mom, they're gonna run it over! They're gonna run it over! They're gonna run it over!" Thinking, they didn't see it, and she's like just yapping away and stuff like that. But that was the first dog, and I think we got rid of her because you were born.
Yeah.
And I think my mom got nauseous with her, of the dog, so we ended up giving it away to a relative. I think my dad's sister. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Do you remember, Tweety?
Yeah.
It was Kissy's litter, right?
Yeah.
From Waylon Willow's puppy. Kissy. Yep.
All she wanted to do is lick. So she would
kiss you. Yeah, she was a little orange, reddish with a red nose.
Yeah.
Chihuahua. That one I would pet. I pet her, and she was cool.
Yeah, that dog though was so spoiled by like our grandparents. Like I remember my grandfather. He would have to make like a hot dog, like boil it, whatever, and hand feed her. And then they found like this actual dog food that looked like a hot dog kind of stuff, but he still had a hand feed her.
That's funny.
Dude, she was like overweight.
Yeah.
Oh,
you
feed
little hot dogs.
Little pot belly Chihuahua.
It's not normal.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember like growing up again. We had the multiple dog. I guess the one for me was the Chihuahua and Frosty.
Yeah.
Shika.
Shika and Frosty. I have like 14 names that are popping in my head, and Shika wasn't one of them. So Shika and Frosty.
Circa.
She was a Chihuahua, so they got along pretty well, actually.
Yeah.
Frosty like took her in almost like if it was her own,
like her own child.
Yeah. And then that was awesome. And then as we got older, my mom ended up getting a Yorkie and then a Shih Tzu. So we had a Shih Tzu and a Yorkie in the same house. So again, it was like two small dogs. But they were also like awesome. It was nice with Binky and Chloe because my parents had the yard, and so like a nice size yard, and so like you would just be able to like go outside and play with them. It was easier. Where we grew up, the property that we owned was more. It's almost like if you could think of it was like a city home. It was all cement.
Yeah.
Our yard was a driveway. I mean, that's all we had. So we would have to like put the leash on, walk them, go like across the street where it was like a field or whatever. But still, it was nice with the with Binky and Chloe had. So I always had those like that. It was like a different experience. Plus, I was older too with when Mom and Pop lived in Levittown. Yeah. So it was like a cool like feel. Like you felt like there's a dog's life right here. You know what I mean? Like running around the yard, the freedom. You'd go take it for a walk. They're smaller dogs, so we would take it places. That was awesome. I remember when we got both dogs. I remember going and picking Chloe up
Oh yeah, drove to Harrisburg. To pick her up.
That was like a fun little adventure.
Got her as a birthday gift from was it birthday or Christmas?
I think so. I think it was
birthday.
Yeah, it was after the holidays. But yeah, but beyond like cat dog thing, we always had like other stuff like lizards.
I was just about
snakes,
to say that. Yeah, we've had
hamsters,
birds, fish, turtles.
We always had
Trying to think
something.
Of the snakes. You said snakes.
Yeah, snakes,
crickets. That was a food for
that
the
was
snakes.
And the lizard.
We just kept it longer.
Yeah. Jeez. They didn't last long, but
I remember getting hamsters, teddy bear hamsters, when I was a kid. I think I was like 8. Because I remember I took them into a show and tell, like in 2nd grade or 3rd grade or something. And they just had like their litter, and it was like 8 hamsters. But anyway, I don't know. I think it's a good thing. It's weird because I think at the moment, I just don't, the dog thing. I would like to, get a dog, but I just don't. We're not in that, mentality right now. So I don't want to do it just for the sake of doing it. I want to give the dog, what it deserves. So, but with other pets, we're kind of like, it's a draw, like with a fish or a turtle or something like that. We did recently have a turtle like walk into our yard. It was just chilling. Like he just like walked into our backyard. It was like a Sunday morning. We're drinking coffee at the kitchen table. I look up and I'm like, what is that? Like I just saw like a ball, but it was like this big brown ball. I'm like, what is that? I was like, I don't know. I'm like, it's a. I remember like stuttering. She's like, what? I'm like, it's a turtle. Because I'm like, I know that's a turtle, but
you're like baffled at.
But yeah, but like, is that what my eyes are really seeing? Is that really a turtle? Like, where did this turtle? So we hung out with him. We named him Chad. We hung out with Chad for the day, and then Chad went home.
You built him a fort, and he's like, oh no, I'm out.
I was building it. Well, I was trying to like, even though they're wild, they know how to survive. But I was really just hanging out with him because James was like, he thought it was the coolest thing.
Oh, yeah.
So we're just like, we're just, gave him water, gave him, fruits and stuff. We're like looking up, what
a turtle to eat.
Yeah, what is, the best for them. So we gave him some fruit. He basically made a pit stop.
Yeah.
He had a little stay. We put him into some shade and we were just hanging out with him. James was petting him, and then he went on his little merry way. I'm talking. This lasted for about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
He hung out with us all afternoon.
Yeah, it was not all afternoon. He hung out with us literally for like an hour. He was on a mission. Like, you could spin him around, and he still went in that direction that he initially. It didn't matter what.
He knew where he was going.
He knew, and not even he knew a specific point in my yard where he was going. So it wasn't like in that same direction, 10 feet over. It was a specific pole. Like on my fence that I don't know. Obviously, he wasn't going for the pole, but in that direction, it was crazy. Like he was on a mission. I'm like, man, Chad gotta go, man. He got some things to do. But yeah, so we've been married for 5 years, and so this been kind of like a little debate that's going back and forth whether we get a family pet or what. But after hanging out with Chad on a Sunday afternoon, I'm like, dang, dude, I think I'm getting pulled in again. Like, oh man, I think I want a family pet. We've had the fish, we had a couple fishes.
Fun. Yeah.
But it's also James. Like, I want it to be his thing.
Yeah.
More than my thing right now at this point. Because if it was my thing, we would have gotten it already. But I don't know. I see both sides.
Are you looking like? For a family pet, are you looking more at a dog, or are you looking at something else for a pet?
No, we're not. No, we're not in the
a picture of a dog.
Fair.
Yeah. What is it? Of a dog.
Right. So, what is it that you're looking for? You don't know yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm saying once Chad came to my yard,
right,
that's when it all started hitting me again. We're like, I don't know, maybe we should get some. I'm not saying it's a turtle. I'm not saying it's a hamster. I'm not saying it's a bird.
Okay.
I'm not saying
in
it's a
general,
fish.
a pet.
Yeah, at the moment, there's no cats, no dogs in our near future.
Yeah.
So I'm saying like some alternative to James taking care of something is more what my mentality is what I'm saying. Sure. It's more for James. I'm like, I want him to, see, like, you have to feed him, you have to take care of him, you have to clean whatever you have to clean, or whatever, depending on the animal.
You can start with a pet rock.
I did. We did. We had a pet rock.
He passed away too.
Jacob, and he had one eye. He was cool. Jacob wanted to be, he wanted to be
a rock star.
He wanted to be in the river again, so he was a river rock. So I chucked him back in.
He was just a rolling stone.
Yeah.
Also, things with family pets, like I know we said, growing up that we'll take care of the dog, we'll take care of the. Of course, that's every kid's instinct because I have a dog, and I remember when this is before my wife and I got married. She's like, "Oh, I think we should get a dog." I'm like, "No, we're not getting a dog." I was like, "If we get a dog, we're gonna get what I want, and it's a boxer." And I'm like, we lived in the apartment. I'm like, no, we're not. I feel bad for it because boxers, they're so high strung and so much energy that I felt bad for it. So then Bella was trying to convince me to get a little foofy, and I'm like, no, I don't want a foofy either. Like, I don't want that. He's a little fluff dog, like a Shih Tzu. And I was like, I don't want that either. So then her great idea was a pit bull, and I was like, I don't want that either. I'm like, no, I'm not getting a pit bull. And Lainey was almost about to be born and stuff. So it was the one day we're at the baseball or at soccer field, and I see this couple walking with this little black and white dog, and it was beautiful. And they came over to me, and it was a Boston Terrier. And I looked up, and I looked at Jess, like, this is the dog right here. It's a perfect size. It's a cute looking dog, and it has like a bad boy look to it, not like a little wimpy dog. So in the meantime, she starts looking and looking and looking. We found one. It was a scam. It was like $300, and we had to give them the money before we even seen the dog and this and that. And I was like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. So then finally she found one, and it was this lady down in Maryland. And we drove down to Maryland to pick up Ellie. And Ellie is an actual show dog. She has championship bloodline. But we had to sign off on papers saying we couldn't show her because her tail, of a Boston Terrier, their tails are little nubbies. Well, her tail is a nub with a hook on it. A slice, you want to say? Slice considered right? Mm-hmm. So her tail has a little slice to it, like goes up there, a little curve at the end of it. So because of that, she won't be able to. We won't be able to show her.
She doesn't qualify as it.
She doesn't qualify, yeah. So we had to sign papers off on that and stuff like that. But I mean, she's a beautiful dog, and of course, Bella was like, "Oh, I'll take care of her," and nobody takes care of her. I do. Yeah. I take care of her. I let her out. I feed her. I do all this fun stuff every night. I go out and have a fetch with her in the backyard, and she just goes back and forth with it and stuff. And I love the dog. Like, when I get home, I look forward to seeing her. But it's a lot of maintenance, and a lot of times we're always out busy, like the girls softball and dance, stuff like that. And there's times where I definitely feel bad for her when we have to put her away, like while we go out, because we don't leave her loose. Yeah. But it's it's a lot of maintenance to have a pup or a dog in general. So I think our next pet would be a spider monkey. That's what it's hanging around my finger and keep it moving.
It's interesting because you start to get down to the most basic question: why do people get pets? Or why do people have pets? Is it like a natural thing for human beings to have like that level of to take care of something, or to have some level of companion?
It's probably some combination of the two, obviously.
Yeah.
Because especially if you are probably single or whatever, it's you want something else to come home to, I guess.
Right.
Companion. Right. Yeah. Because I know there's ladies at work that they are obsessed with dogs, and they say, I would rather speak to a dog than to a person because I'll get a better response out of a dog than a person. So I mean, I guess it's like their way of being that they come home and their dogs are their lives. Literally, they wear dog apparel, like their shirts have dogs. It's crazy, and everything is about dogs at my job. They're all obsessed. I think everyone has a dog at my job right now.
Yeah.
Literally, and multiple. I'm the only one that has one. Me and someone else only have one, but everyone else has more than one, 2, 3, 4, and they're not little dogs. The one has 2 golden retrievers and a Great Dane.
Wow.
2 Great Danes. I believe it's 2 Great Danes. Yeah. And Great Danes are not small dogs. No, they're huge.
They're gigantic.
Yeah. The one was waggling its tail and shattered her 55-inch TV walking by.
Damn.
She had to replace her TV because of the dog.
And that's when you mounted far above the dog.
Yeah, that's when you mounted on the ceiling.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that is. Then there's people who they've always had a dog.
Yeah.
Growing up, so they just kind of continue
so
that.
Used to that.
Thing.
Yeah.
Used to the animal being some kind of animal being around.
And I do agree. Like they're like a part of a family. Like,
sure.
It's like you're saying. It's like you get excited to come home because, especially with dogs. Like I said, I can only speak for a dog. They're excited to see you as much as you're excited to see them. You know what I'm saying? Like that was what it's like, dude. If anyone else, if the world completely hates me, my dog is gonna be like excited to see me. You know what I mean? Like there was always like made you feel better. They definitely change like, you know, the emotions that's going on, and you know the human mind going through a day in and day out. I would like to see like the comparison, like, you know, people's like emotional intelligence in compared to pet owners and non-pet owners.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like you read and pick up stuff more than I would think anyway.
Yeah, because obviously animals can't tell you what's wrong with them or
right.
whatever.
So you're paying attention to all these cues or
exactly.
whatever. To what is it that you want? You gotta use the bathroom. You gotta go.
Yeah.
I like how we say you gotta use the bathroom for a dog.
Yeah. I go pee pee outside. You want to go pee pee outside? That's what I do to Ellie. Ellie, you want to go pee pee outside? And she looks and she runs to the door. You want water? She stands in front of the kitchen sink for water. So that's how I know that she wants water. So it's like those little things that I look at. And if she's hungry, Danica can't be in her way because she takes the food out of the baby's hand. So that's how I know that she's hungry. So I'm like, all right, well, somebody didn't feed a dog this morning.
That's funny.
Well, it's funny. Like for the cat end of that is like because we. There's certain parts of the day that where we like give them like soft food as opposed to just a bowl of hard food, and they know exactly when that is. They're like
really?
if you don't feed them by that, or that you get up at the usual time you do it, they'll be in your face all over. Like feed me. You walk anywhere towards if you're upstairs.
I want my Caesar.
Essentially, if
that's
you're anywhere near
food.
if you're upstairs and anywhere near the stairs,
fancy,
they'll fly down the stairs and like ready and go right to the kitchen, meow like maniacs. And
oh man,
that's crazy.
So is it called fancy? Right, the soft food that you give her.
Do we?
Is it
Fancy Feast or whatever?
Fancy
One of those
Feast,
things, or
yeah.
Sheba, whatever. One of those things.
Sheba, I thought Sheba was a dog.
Well, I don't know.
Man.
Sheba.
We've always gave our
cat
dogs
food.
dry food, so I don't know anything about the
cats and
can.
dogs.
Well, for years, like growing up, we always gave just the hard food, but somewhere along, or when Mom used to make like tuna like stuff, we'll always give like a little bit of like leftover like little tunas, whatever. So it kind of evolved from there. Just I'll give a little portion of like soft food, whatever goes with that. But it's like they know exactly anytime stuff like that is like they know exactly when to go.
Yeah.
So there's people who have like multiple pets, obviously, right? Like 2 dogs, 3 dogs, 2 cats. You know, do you think there's ever should be like a limit?
As long as you have the capacity to care for all of them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I mean, yeah, if you hoarding animals and like you can't take care of like
hoarding animals,
you don't have the
you can't take care of yourself. I mean, you can't take care of an animal properly.
Yeah, it's weird. It's almost like, I don't know. I feel like certain animals require certain things. One, space. It's not normal, I guess, for a dog per se to be in, I guess, like this small confined space all day, all night, and the only time it goes out is to go for a walk.
Yeah.
Like there's like something that's not normal about that. It's like,
and
I feel like the dog should be running around. I don't know. It's just, and then you have multiple dogs.
Yeah,
and you're like, wow. So you're doing this to like, I don't know. That's me. That's just when I think of it. It's like I think about like sometimes when you're just at the office or whatever, you're working, you're just like you're in that little confined space. You're like, when you get out, you're like, oh man, I feel like a stretch, and you just go and you feel good, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, don't you feel like they want to experience that at some point?
Yeah, I guess it depends on the type of dog it is too. If they're more high energy and stuff like that too, then they need like to be running around like maniacs, or they need a lot more space because they need that energy to just roam around.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think there's people who shouldn't be like, aside from space, who shouldn't be like animal owners?
I mean, that's to each its own on that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't tell someone they can't have a pet because you don't think they're fit to not to have a pet, but...
Well, no, I'm not saying telling someone. I say, do you think there's people out there who shouldn't have pets?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, obviously, aside from the obvious, the abusers. I'm saying...
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's busy people. Like, I mean, I'm a busy person, but there's always someone at home that will let the dog out and stuff like that. Like, so... there are people that work, long hours and
That's why we always gravitate towards cats, because obviously a little more independent. You don't have to worry about constantly being there to take out the the animal to walk in and or be at certain times for their food and all that stuff too. It's like you let everything out and they kind of go, and they'll be around you when you get home. But it's like we were always on the go as younger, so like we were on a round for the hours that you need to be a certain thing, and then we'd have people to come over to do any of that type of stuff. So when we had the dog, we had it for a couple of years, but it was like and it was one of the things. Like Beagle is high energy type too, so so it was harder for that. He was always in a confined spot in the back, and it was like we had the backyard and stuff too, but it was very small.
And wasn't enough, yeah. When it comes to cats, do you train them to use the cat litter, or is that's like an instinct of a cat?
It's actually somewhat of an instinct, or maybe even like at least I don't remember when I was younger, but I think you did have to. You have to kind of like point them like this is where you're gonna blah blah. But the more recent ones I have now, it seems like even like in the we got them from the SPCA or one of like the branches of that whatever. Even like in the cage that we adopted them from, they have like a little tiny thing of like litter in there already, so they already understand the concept of that. Okay. It's just of knowing.
Is
where
it like a scent, right? Is there?
I guess most cat litter has a something they're attracted to, whatever it is.
Right.
So it's like they just know what it is. You just have to show them where it is, and they'll just kind of go towards it.
Yeah.
Now, did you get your kitten did you get the cat as a kitten, or was it a aged cat?
They were young. They were less than a year, both of them.
Okay.
One was it was the family was moving away, so they kind of just like they couldn't take care of it. They couldn't take it with them, so they kind of left it at the shelter or whatever it was. And the other one was a stray. That she was a rescue, so that's what she's the one that is high strung anyway too. The stray one.
That's why I always see like people say, "Oh, we adopted a dog and we adopt this." Do you adopt a puppy, like a brand new puppy, or do you adopt a 5-year-old dog that's lifespan is only maybe 9 years? So you're gonna have the dog for 4 years. How does that work?
I think it's definitely. I mean, I would assume it's situational. It's the person's personality.
Sure.
It's different owners. Like some of them, they want a puppy. They want it from ground up.
Right.
And some of them just want an older dog that's not going to be so high strung. They just kind of easily manage. They already got their own little routines going. They just want to love on them. Really.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, adoption in general. That's really what it is. It's kind of like it's
taking over.
Well, no, it's like specific to whatever that person feels what's right in their heart. You know what I mean?
Right, okay.
So,
and that's what and we in between when we had pets that obviously some passed away, and then you got interstitial animals that we always went to the SPCA because we had one actually not too far from us, but we've had pets that were older but they had problems. So it was and we always had. There was one I specifically think of that he had a crazy name. His name was Uncle Buck, but I think we gave that to him. But but on the way when we just adopted him, on the way back, I guess he got all crazy because they give you a little carrier box, whatever. It was me and my cousins were in the back seat, and all of a sudden you saw pee just coming out of the box, and we all just jumped up. It was the back, and it was one of those things where it was a giant bench in the back, and it was old leather car, whatever it was. Yeah. So you just saw pee streaming out of the box, unfortunately. But then at the same time too, once we actually got him home, so obviously that was sign one. But when we got him home, it didn't start right away. But then later on, he started acting out in the middle of the night, when my parents were sleeping, they were he would just jump in the bed and pee in the bed or whatever. So it was
oh man.
So it was stuff like that. He didn't last that long with us, but we had to wind up taking him back. Somebody else could probably better take care of him, but it was stuff like that. Yeah, older pets is a risk of, especially if they've been, I guess, set off to the SPCA or whatever it is for adoption. You don't know if they've had any issues and whatever the previous owners and all stuff is.
So there's a stereotype with cats and specific owners. You ever hear someone call someone with multiple cats a crazy cat lady?
Yeah.
Is that how true, or is that
Well, I mean, because I guess cats are, since they are technically easier to deal with. Oh, I'll have 20 cats. It don't matter.
Yeah.
But it goes to any kind of animal. As long as, like I said earlier, it's you have the capacity to care for all that. Sure, absolutely. Because there's one of the radio station guys, Preston Steve.
Yeah.
Steve, he does tons of pet adoption stuff too. He doesn't have any kids, so him and his wife and Mary for you, but they have tons of animals. He always jokes he has literally 5 or 6 cats. They have dogs. They have all kinds of crazy animals and stuff too. But they have the ability to care for all that. So it was
yeah.
I think his wife stays at home and all that stuff too. So it was it's stuff like that. But me, I would never get more than 2 animals because that's more than enough. Especially with the supplies you have to buy for all the the cat litter and the food and all stuff. It's there's no way in heck I'm gonna even try to take care of that many animals.
Yeah.
So I mean, but the usual stereotypical. I mean, there's something at that point there's something wrong with you. You're hoarding that many animals if you can't take care of them. If that makes any sense.
So going back, we were talking about interacting with pets, or whether they're yours or someone else's. Yeah. Remember I was talking about the guy who didn't own any kind of level of dog and would just kind of like pet without kind of like assessing.
Yeah.
What have you guys ever encountered like crazy like situation, like a scary one maybe with a pet, whether it was yours or not yours?
Well, the only one I can think of in recent is one of my other friends. Like they've had the dog for years, but it's they know how to deal with it, and like very some people know how to deal with it, but because they always like if anybody's company over, like they have to cage it up or put it like in the basement or something, because if it does, like it's one of those animal. I forget what the type of dog it is. But whatever it is, it's typical of that breed, nonetheless. But it's vicious as I don't know what. Like if it grabs onto you, it's not letting go.
Yeah,
it looks like a furry dog, like nonetheless. But it's one of the things. Even like my friend got her hand ripped open like in the past couple of years because of the dog. So it was like,
is it that specific dog?
Is that specific dog and that breed that kind of gears towards like that kind of attitude, aggressive? Yeah, that it like it were like.
Yeah. Do they use them as like guard dogs or like?
No, it's just they've had it for so many years. They just know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
And it's like they said they'll probably never get that type of dog again if they do. But it's like, it's one of the things like. But a couple times we've been over there like in the backyard and it's just like, oh, the door was open and they just walked down. Like they're like nobody move. Like you have to like they're gonna wrangle the dog back into the house or whatever.
Oh man,
that's interesting.
Crazy. So I know as a kid, my grandfather had this dog named Jesse, and it was a Doberman, and I used to be petrified of this thing. He would swear that this dog would not do anything, but that bark, oh man, the minute he barked, it was scary. Like you just stood there and froze, and you just did not want to move because he was bigger than me, first of all, and then my grandfather would try to tell me, here, give him a treat. I was not putting my hand nowhere near his mouth because his mouth was big. I would just throw it, and the dog wouldn't take the treat. You would have to actually take the treat and put it in its mouth, but I wouldn't do it. My grandpa did it, and that was like the scariest thing ever, and I was probably like 4 years old.
Yeah, that was a big dog.
I remember my Uncle Dave used to own a pit bull, Rocky, and Rocky had this, I guess they had a routine with him where they would walk him at a certain time during the day. Well, I remember coming home, like I just got home from school or something like that, or went over there after school and was like waiting, I guess, for like Vicky or like my cousin to show up so we could like hang out. I don't know. But my Uncle Dave, Rocky was barking. He's like, damn, I gotta leave. Da, da, da. He's like, somebody gotta walk the dog. And Tammy was babysitting like a baby at the time. So she couldn't. She's like, I can't. She's like, I don't have like the courage here, nothing. And my Uncle Dave's like, I gotta go to work. So she's like, when Vicky gets home, tell her to walk Rocky. And I'm like, oh, I volunteered. Oh, I'll walk Rocky. I was probably like not even 10, maybe. Not even. And Rocky was awesome, right? So I put him on the thing, and Uncle Dave put him on a leash, and Uncle Dave's like, just be careful, she he tugs, and he's gonna end up walking in. I'm like, oh, all right, dude. As soon as I opened that gate, Rocky started running. Like he was on the leash and everything, dude. I thought he was gonna break my arm, take my arm out of socket. I was so freaked out. I was freaked out to lose him. I thought he was just going to run away. Because I'm like, dude, I was holding on for dear life. And then there was another person like walking the dog. Dude, I kid you not. I physically couldn't control the dog. Like it literally walked me. Wherever it went, that's where I took it. And I remember it made a pit stop on every pole up and down that street that we saw. I mean, it just went to a fire hydrant, boom. Went to like a telephone, boom. And it had to pee every single time. It was the craziest thing. Like it was claiming that whole block.
Yeah.
But I remember I brought it back, and Tammy was in tears, laughing so hard. She's like, "I saw you struggling. I was trying. There's nothing I can do." She's like, "I have a baby on my hip, and I see you." I'm like, "Oh, poor Jim. He definitely just broke both his arms." And thank God, Vicky got home, was calling for Rocky. So then he went running back towards their house. Otherwise, I would have never. I would have been on Route 13 with Rocky, because he was literally. I had no control. It just freaked me out. So I never volunteered to walk the dog ever again.
Yeah, no. First and last time.
Yeah, it was the first and last time.
So, Gabe, to the picture of the dog you just shipped, that's a Cocker Spaniel.
Okay, that's it. Is that?
I didn't know they were.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know
vicious. No, yeah.
Are they? I didn't know
dogs,
that.
yes.
Cocker spaniels.
Yeah, they are.
That's interesting.
I didn't know that.
I remember one time when we got my my hamster. So I don't know why, what was going on, but we bought the hamsters and they give it to you in this like cardboard box.
Oh my goodness!
Right. So I don't know what it was where we like stopped somewhere.
Stopped at the Walmart.
At
we stopped at
Walmart.
the pet shop, got the pet, and then went
we
to
had
the
to
Walmart.
go get the food or something.
The what is it? The fluff, the bedding. That's
Oh
what we
yeah,
had to get, the
Yeah.
bedding.
So we set them up. They had everything they needed inside these boxes, windows drawn down. We were talking about like the 90s, where that was like normal. Now it's like, God forbid if you did something like that. So it was fine. So we go home. Everything was fine. I'm like, I hear them running around. Like, nothing. So we get home, and I get the box, open up the one box, and there's not a hamster in it. And then the other one was there, and I put it in a cage. We set it up. I'm crying. Like, we lost my hamster. Now we're looking at the box. It bit through the box.
Oh shoot,
dude. So me and my dad and like I don't know, one of these guys were in like. We're like, it got to be in the car. It was just in the car.
Yeah, I do
so we're searching, dude, for like an hour or two. Flashlights. My dad gave up. No, he didn't give up. He went in to go like take a shower or something. It was like, it was late night at this time. It was like 10 o'clock at night. We're still in the car. Finally, I sat there. Like, I never forget. I sat. Yeah, I sat in the freaking. I sat at the kitchen table and I was just praying, God, please let them find the hamster. Please let them in here. Heck, I got it. It's inside like the vent in the dashboard.
Yeah, I was literally like where the gas pedals are. My hands and my head were going all up inside the dash, and I heard it. You could hear it running across in the cables and all over. But I'm like, yo, we literally. So at the time, from the time we parked at Walmart to the time we got home, we don't not know when and how it got out. I mean, we obviously knew how, but we didn't know how long it's been out. So at one point, we thought it had jumped out of the car or whatever, like something stupid. But sure enough, it was inside the dash and flashlights all inside the dash. I'm like, what in the world is this?
I remember that.
That was a crazy
It
night.
ended up being fine. But it was like the first. I remember I saved up like my own money to buy them.
Yeah.
I mean, they were nothing expensive, but still, it was like I was so excited.
The dwarf ones?
Yeah, they're the dwarf ones.
Dwarf ones.
Yeah,
Because I remember you had the teddy bear ones and the dwarf
teddy bear ones, and then the teddy bear ones were like a little. It was funny, like the name didn't match.
And
They're kind of like
Russian
more
ones
aggressive.
that you had?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were a little hamster guinea pig. Yeah, hamster little.
And I
Color,
lucked out with
aren't
like two of them. Because I asked the guy, I'm like, oh, can I get a male? Can I get a female? Blah, blah, blah. My first ones, it was male and female. They had they had babies or whatever. Then the second one, that was when I got the teddy bear ones. It was like, I think it was like either two males or two females. We still never knew because it's all fluffy back there.
Yeah.
Obviously, someone who is, studies,
hamsters,
would know probably right off
Hamster.com.
the bat. But for me, I was just like, I don't know. And then the second one, when the ones that got lost, it was an actual male and female, and they also had babies.
Okay.
But yeah, no, that was like, that's kind of like a funny / like scary. I always remember that, like all hands on deck looking for this little hamster bit through the bottom of the box. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Anyone want an exotic pet or would like anything exotic?
I remember when I was a kid, I always wanted a sugar glider. I don't even know if that's exotic, but
they are because they're not a typical pet.
I always wanted a sugar glider. I also always wanted a dude. Don't even ask me why. I think it was like I was watching Cribs or some. This is like over the top MTV show that would have basically celebrities or someone of wealth show off their possessions. Is what
it was like a new version of Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
Yeah, exactly. So I was watching MTV Cribs. I don't know who in the world it was, but the dude, I always pictured this, like the dude had a like a snake around his neck, and he was washing his like Ferrari or something. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I'm gonna top that off. I'm gonna also get like some like exotic bird. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have a parrot on my left shoulder and
a toucan.
And a snake on the other hand. I'm gonna be washing my my Lamborghini or something. So that was always in my head. Again, I was probably like 10 or 12 or something like that. But that always stuck in my head. Yeah, that's not one of my.
To me, a monkey was always mine. Not a big monkey like this, little small ones.
Yeah.
And now when I see the spider monkeys, I actually like spider monkeys.
How big are they?
Pull up a spider monkey, Jared.
You said before it was hanging off your finger, but I was like, I didn't think that was that tiny.
It's literally like.
Is that really that small?
Yeah,
No, there's these ones that they.
Look at this. That's exotic, right?
A monkey on top on the
A
back of a
monkey
bird.
on top of a
So it's these little monkeys that I've seen at the zoo. They're literally like no bigger than a microphone.
Oh yeah.
They're
yeah,
cute
I don't know
little
if they're
monkeys.
spider monkeys. I do know what you're talking about though.
So is that a spider monkey then?
So you don't even know what you want.
No, I don't know, but I do know what I want. I just don't know what they're called. I always thought they were called spider monkeys because they were small, but obviously not.
That's hilarious. Yeah, so I always wanted a white parrot. Is that a thing?
White
Yeah.
parrots?
Yeah, it's a white parrot.
Like a parakeet? Not a parakeet.
They're cockatoos. White.
Yeah.
The white ones are cockatoos.
Is that? Yeah, I think
With
you're
the
right.
with the yellow feathers at the tip.
Yeah, I was thinking it's
When
like white,
they're-
but it has like the red.
when they
the
do
yellow
their
on.
when they do their squawking, the
Yeah.
yellow tips. I mean, I've seen them yellow tipped and like a baby blue tip.
White cockatoo. So white cockatoo and like a albino python.
Orange and white.
So that would be like, and then
White on white.
yeah, and then you got to be like washing your car and like some like Gucci flip flops or something. The most obnoxious like vision too. So annoying.
The coolest thing I seen was an albino peacock, all white.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That is cool. Do you guys go to the zoo? You like the zoo?
Once in a blue. I mean,
Yeah.
but yeah, as a kid, you're like, oh, I want to see all these animals. I mean, it's still cool going to like stuff like that because we went to. I think recently I went to Disney. We went to Animal Kingdom though. It has like kind of a zoo-ish
Okay,
feel
yeah,
to
yeah.
it. But it's always cool seeing like stuff, obviously stuff that's not normally in your life, like that.
Yeah.
The exotic animals.
Oh yeah, that's like my thing with the zoos. Like I have to make the exhibit. Well, I have to make the exhibit of like the monkeys, like the gorillas, and I have to make the exhibit of like the tigers or like the lions.
yeah.
Like for me, that's like the thing. Like I have to see that.
Yeah.
I can I can go without. Not that I can go without anything else, but as
Yeah.
long as I get to do that.
Yeah.
The other animal that's super fascinating to watch is like a giraffe.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I was just
oddly
thinking the same
fascinating.
thing. Yeah, that's weird.
Just like the way they walk, the way they carry, they're so tall. You're just like, dude, that is a crazy looking animal.
And they're
Like, real
quick
cool.
too. When they run, like in the wild, when they run in the
Yeah.
wild, they're really quick.
Yeah,
For being like tall like that, like you wouldn't think that they'll be quick,
yeah.
but they are. It's
What was it?
weird.
The white tigers. I remember at Philadelphia when we saw
Oh,
them, and
yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, that was crazy. Like the glass is so thick, but like you feel like you're in there with them because
Yeah.
it's such like nice glass, I guess.
Yeah.
Or whatever. That thing was huge. I mean, huge, and it was absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, they are beautiful.
Yeah, that was awesome. But yeah, I like the zoo. James, like we only have taken him once, but he's definitely due to go again.
Yeah. That's something to do every so
Yeah,
often.
exactly. So now a lot of the stuff that would just kind of like would die out for me. Then you get to relive it because
Sure,
you have a kid
absolutely,
or
yeah.
whatever.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That happened to us with like Sesame Place. It was like we go back with James. Now it's like it's a different level of excitement. I'm
Yeah,
excited for
absolutely.
him. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly.
Like, oh, I'm going to Sesame Place. Like, wow, you're excited. I'm like, well, I'm really excited for my kid.
And just to see what animals he gets excited about.
Right, exactly. Yeah. All right, so last question here. What would you do if someone asked you to care for their pets because they couldn't do so anymore?
Depends on what it is.
Situation.
Yeah.
Well, I would
If
think.
you can do it, if not, then I mean,
Are they asking you specifically to take care of their animals?
Yeah. Well, they let's just say they notice or they know that you're a responsible person. They're just,
I would say at least I'm glad you're saying something, not just neglecting your animal.
Yeah, that's true. That actually speaks
So like, I
volumes
mean,
of the
if
person.
and it's like even if I personally couldn't take care of it, I'll find somewhere, a home that was somebody who can take care of it.
Yeah.
for
I
you.
think that's how it would normally like pan out. Assess the situation. Obviously, be like, okay, well, if it's an animal that number one, I don't think I can provide the
Sure.
best, situation for. Then yeah, I think you just turn to okay, how can we help you
Yeah,
though?
exactly.
Transition here because I think it depends. Like if someone had like a fish and there's like, can you please take care of my
Yeah.
fish, versus a dog or something like
Yeah,
that,
exactly.
higher more responsibility in that sense. Yeah, that's tough though, man. Because then you don't want to like kind of like let them down. It also depends on the person who's asking you and their situation, and you feel bad. But I don't know. That's tough.
You feel bad for the animal.
Yeah, you feel bad for the animal.
Nah, I'm good.
Yeah. All right, so there you have it, folks. Can I pet it? We're going to wrap this episode up with quotes from James Harriot and James Cromwell. James Harriot says, "If having a soul means being able to feel love and loyalty and gratitude, then animals are better off than a lot of humans." And then the second one is by James Cromwell. "Pets are humanizing. They remind us that we have an obligation and responsibility to preserve and nurture and care for all life." That's awesome. All right, so there you have it, folks. Can I pet it? In this episode, the crew talks about pets and our experiences with them. We cover topics that range from household pet statistics, funny stories, pet ownership, pet stereotypes, the zoo, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from James Harriot and James Cromwell. Awesome. Guys, thanks again for joining us. The Rotated Views podcast was produced for self-development purposes. Huge shout out to our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by the Blessed Lifestyle brand. That is BL3SSED.com. Also sponsored by The Motivation Files Unleashed. This motivational mixtape will be your fuel for success. Available on all platforms. Guys, don't forget to visit the website, JimmyLeeVelez.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Rotated Views. If you have any inquiries or questions, email us at info@JimmyLeeVelez.com. On behalf of myself and the rest of the crew, we wish you massive success. Stay blessed.